What is going on, everybody? It's the Frost and we are for AEW on TNT review for March 11, 2020. We are on the road to blood and guts. Coming to you in 2 weeks, as we will have their version of War Games, Inner Circle versus the Elite. This was the next to last show before that, I guess, but this was a good show. Lance Archer finally made his debut in the most subtle way possible. Cody took on Ortiz. Due to Kenny Omega being injured, broken hand and all, he needed a partner. Hangman Page needed a partner to take on Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. Who would that partner be? We'll talk about it later. The show started off with Cody versus Ortiz. Moxley was not in the building after what happened last week. The medical staff disqualified him from being medically cleared to be in the arena, which I'm surprised that Jon Moxley actually obeyed medical procedures. This is Jon fucking Moxley. He doesn't follow medical procedures or medical suggestions. But anyway, Cody with Arn Anderson and Brandi Rhodes took on Ortiz with Santana. This was interesting at the beginning of the match because Ortiz gets going early on Cody, and all of a sudden we cut to the crowd. There's Jake the Snake Roberts, and right beside him is the Murder Hawk, Lance Archer. I'm going to go out on a limb here and say I'm a little disappointed in it being Lance Archer. I don't think Lance Archer needed Jake Roberts. I could be totally wrong because he has been working in Japan. I figured Brody Lee would be the better one to fit a Jake the Snake Roberts client. But since I guess they want him to go after Cody first, this is who they picked for him to have. So that explains why we did not see Lance Archer last week. It was supposed to be Lance Archer making his debut last week. That did not happen. Instead, Jake the Snake Roberts made his debut and said he has a client. We all should have realized it was going to be Lance Archer, but we didn't. So he comes out. They stick around for a bit. And watch this match. Cody controls things until Santana tugs in his boot from the distraction. Ortiz with a kick to the head from behind to drop Cody. Cody with a knee to the midsection tries for a kick, but Ortiz drops Cody's knee down onto his shoulder. Santana goes up for a superplex. And Ortiz goes up for a superplex, gets pancaked to the mat. Referee checking on Ortiz. Santana grabs Cody's foot before he can leap off. Brandi comes over and smacks Santana with her belt to get him away. Ortiz still hits a superplex on Cody. Pin 2. Cody and Santana take off on the floor. Cody hits Santana with a suicide dive. Ortiz follows, blocked. Cody lifts and plants Ortiz on the ramp. Archer is about to jump over the rail, but Roberts holds him back and is like, "Not today, kid. Not today. We've seen enough. We got the notes for the day. We're gonna go back. We're gonna do our homework on Cody. Let's get out of here." Soon after that, they are out of there. They walk away. We do not see from them again. Roberts does smile over at Arn doing this. Fisherman suplex, cover 2. Roberts and Archer leave, as I said. Cody gets Ortiz's leg over the rope, dragon screw leg whip, then kicks the leg and finally stomps on it. Cody locks in the figure 4 leg lock, and Ortiz taps out. Nice fun little match here to start the show. It was great to see the debut of one Lance Archer and where he's going to be going from here. So they have big things for Lance Archer coming out of the woodwork. So next week is going to be interesting for AEW. We'll talk about that in a minute. Now, after the match is where this all gets interesting. Santana cut the cheap shot on Cody. Beats him down a little bit. Matt and Kenny run down from the ring to help Arn get rid of the Inner Circle members from the big screen. Jericho with Sammy, Guevara, and JK tells the group that that we told you we were going to put the notice everyone on the roster on notice. And in 2 weeks, we're going to beat the hell out of you pumpkin head dipshits. Now, apparently, AEW has a one shits line for the week, and that turns out to be, I guess Chris Jericho has that under lock and key. They probably wonder where Nick is. They ran into him, and it looks like he's been a bit of a headache. They pans out, and Nick is squashed under the big door, blood pouring from his face or his mouth or his head or something. All the Elite run into the back to check on him during the split-screen commercial. Medical staff help Nick put him in the stretcher and take him out into an ambulance. Matt and Cody and everyone, like Matt and Cody, get into a car and they follow the ambulance to keep him, follow him and get him set up in the hospital. So this is, of course, leading to Blood and Guts. This is going to be the two teams are going to be facing off against each other at this event that they're going to be having, and I cannot wait to see what happens with AEW. This War Games match, Blood and Guts as they're calling it, is going to be something fucking special. Bea Priestley making her return, teams with Nyla Rose versus Chris Statlander and Hikaru Shida. This one was an okay match. It wasn't like, you have Tony Schiavone sitting there saying that Nyla Rose looks to have improved since she won the Women's Championship. I disagree. I don't think she's been good at all. She's really held the Women's Championship, the Women's Division back, because everyone has to has to come down to get her to look good. They can't seem to elevate her up. Well, she's barking orders in the middle of this match, trying to get Bea Priestley to do what she wants. Statlander sends Bea Priestley onto the outside. Ripcord clothesline by Rose on the Statlander. Shida with the Hurricane Runner on Rose. Rose goes up and hits a superplex on. She goes and hits a superplex on Priestley, but Rose then hits a spear, beast bomb 1, 2, 3, and that was that. Crowd was into this match, but it wasn't a really good match. Post match, Priestley just drops Nyla Rose, takes the championship, holds it up. Crowd is cheering for this. They want to see Bea Priestley holding that championship for real. Then she takes the title, throws it back, and as she's leaving, she has the call me symbol, like she's using the call me hand gesture to Rose as if she wants a title shot eventually. I think Priestley would be a heck of a would be a great title match, but she needs to be around a lot longer. This is what, her 5th or 6th match in AEW, and was 4 months, 5 months into this thing. I think it's time that she starts doing something else. Like, she needs to start showing up more. Yes, I know she's in Stardom, but it's just I think it's time for her to start doing more in AEW. 2 weeks after Evolution, Chris Daniels came to the ring and looked like he was the Exalted One, but faked out the Dark Order to help save his stablemates SCU and Colt Cabana. Last week, SCU and Colt Cabana beat the Dark Order in an 8-man tag match with Daniels. And then one of the best things that AEW has done is they've done some mock video packages. Having Cody do his video package about what it meant to him to become AEW World Champion, then the Inner Circle parodying that. Well, here, Christopher Daniel does the exact same thing, but for the Dark Order. He's dressed as a spokesman. He talks about Dark Order initially being poised for success until they ran into SCU. They spliced Daniels in with the Dark Order stuff and his own gear. And Daniel says he's challenged Evil Uno and Grace to singles matches at any time, any place, anywhere they want, including this parking lot, which just shows up in the parking lot. He says there is no Exalted One, and he'll prove that by beating each guy, and no Exalted One will show up. So I can't do the video justice. You're definitely gonna have to go out of your way, check this thing out. If you haven't seen this AEW this week, this is something you need to go check out. This was funny as hell. Luchasaurus, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt of Jurassic Express versus MJF, The Butcher, and the Blade, in a 6-man tag team match. This match was a lot of fun, but of course the match started off. MJF has a jacket on, pulls it off, has the I Pin Cody shirt he was wearing last week just to rile up the crowd in Salt Lake City. So this one was good. Turns around, he throws the shirt off and tosses a bit, but he doesn't realize that Luchasaurus tagged in. He's taunting towards the Butcher and the Blade. He's like, I'm this badass. He has this badass attitude. And he backs up right into Luchasaurus and bashes away. Butcher and Blade getting the double chop blocks on the big man, though, and MJF gets in some shots. Luchasaurus is kept in the wrong side of the town as MJF tag teams in and out to beat him up. So usually you don't see Luchasaurus being in the beginning of these matches. It's usually Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt, one of those combinations too, and Luchasaurus is the hot tag. They changed it up, and this time he took the heat. And Jungle Boy was the hot tag. Nice little changing it up here a little bit. It does get kind of repetitive when you have a Luchasaurus or Jungle Boy continuing to do the same shtick over and over. It breathes a breath of fresh air for the babyface team to have Luchasaurus take the heat for every once in a while. Luchasaurus can't tag his way out of the match. He continues to get beat up in the opposing team. He fakes Blade with a heel kick and hits a roundhouse kick. Beautiful spot he does every time. Both Blade and MJF hold on one of his feet and keep him back. He just slowly walks across the ring with the both of them, but they trip him up momentarily. Jungle Boy tags in, and he just goes on a house of fire. Big lariat to the Blade, second rope moonsault that sends him out of the floor. He looks to fly, but Butcher stomps and leaps off the top rope, assisted Hurricane Rana as he jumped onto the Butcher. But this dude is so big, and Michael Stunt couldn't do anything. But, of course, you had Jungle Boy spinning around to get that going. And the Blade, I believe, got hit with a handstand back heel to the Blade on the outside. Tries for a suicide dive. Michael Stunt doesn't work out. But then you have Jungle Boy follows and knocks all three men down, including from the opposing team, including Michael Stunt as well. Luchasaurus with a step-up senton to the floor on all three guys. Holy shit chant as he came ever so close to hitting the ring apron. Back from ring, Luchasaurus with a double choke slam, standing moonsault on MJF. Cover gets broken up. Butcher and Luchasaurus each throw headbutts, big chops. Luchasaurus with a roundhouse kick, but Butcher hits a lariat in return. These two with some big beefy boys beating the hell out of each other. This was your hottest moment of the match. Stunt tags in, stops one, MJF in the corner, Jungle Boy up on top rope, Bunny on the apron for a distraction. Blade shuns Jungle Boy to the floor, Wardlow blasts Luchasaurus on the outside as the referee's distracted. MJF puts the Fujiwara armbar on, also known as the Salt of the Earth, onto Stunt, and Stunt immediately taps out. MJF and the Butcher and the Blade, MJF and the Butcher and the Blade win their match. Just getting that momentum for MJF after winning at Revolution. He needed to continue to win. We see what happened with Sammy Guevara, Chris Jericho versus Darby Allin. Then we see a vignette of him showing a vehicle that says Darby Stucks on it. Then he has a mask of Chris Jericho's face on it. In a body bag, it says Sammy. He has a mannequin or something that has a picture of Sammy Guevara in it. Zips it up and starts pulling it away as if he was dragging Sammy Guevara's body. So even though he won at Revolution, this feud is far from over between him and Sammy Guevara. Tony Schiavone introduces Britt Baker, his new best friend. She comes out with the coffee that has his face on it as usual. Says she's glad Tony's here because there's not much to do in Utah. Makes fun of the state's liquor laws and the poor oral health among the fans. Says despite everyone in the crowd looking the same, like we're all at a family reunion, everyone can reach their goals, even it's being a janitor. That's why she's here for everyone, to be everyone's role model and lead by example. Big Swole makes her way out and says all Baker does is talk. Swole gets closer and Baker hides behind Tony. PSA, boo, he ain't even like you. He don't even like you. I don't know what that fucking means. Baker says the only wrestler who cares about her and her household is her boyfriend. Swole then points to the ring and says, "I'm married, baby." That just seems to set Britt Baker off. She takes Shivani's coffee, throws it into Big Swole's face, and then backs out the opposite stage, the stage that she came out of, opposite of Big Swole. So Britt Baker seemed a little pissed that she even referenced the fact that, hey, I'm married, you're not, bitch, ha ha ha. As everyone knows, Big Swole, Ariel Monroe, is married to Cedric Alexander. They have a child together, if I'm not mistaken. So, yeah, nice little back and forth there. I don't know. I'm still not into the full Britt Baker yet. I'm not feeling it yet. Joe Janela and Private Party versus Death Triangle, Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix, and Pac. This, of course, was set up last night on AEW Dark after the Private Party took on Brandon Cutler and, what was it, Sonny Kiss. Death Triangle came out, they fought them, and then Joey Janela came out to fight them as well. And it ended up with 5 guys being beat down to Death Triangle, which is a great way to keep Death Triangle, the building Death Triangle up. We've seen a good bit of trios matches since AEW started, and Kenny Omega did mention somewhere at one time that he wants to introduce a trios title. Now, Ring of Honor has a trios title. That's the 6-man tag team championships. You have the never overweight 6-man tag team titles in New Japan. I mean, WWF at one time, if I'm correct, had a 6-man tag team championship that didn't last very long. So, I mean, why the hell not? You want to give us another championship, especially since the fact that you have Jurassic Express, you have the Inner Circle right now, you have Private Party, you have Death Triangle, you have Orange Cassidy and the Best Friends. That's 4 teams right there, and I'm sure there's others on top of my... Well, you have the Elite as well, that's 5. If you want to go out a little bit more, you can have QT Marshall and Dustin Rhodes and Sonny Kiss be another one, or Brandon Cutler be in there too. You have enough to do that. And what's great is that they don't have, like, if AEW is going to give us a tag team, a 6-man tag team championship, they're going to actually put time and effort into a 6-man tag team championship. It's not like the women's tag team titles in WWE, where they don't give a flying fuck about those championships. Asuka and Kairi Sane have held them since Hell in a Cell, and have only defended them, what, twice? So yeah, I just, yeah. So this was pretty much a setup match to get these guys built up for later down the line, which I know next week is going to be Orange Cassidy. There's going to be the Best Friends versus, and Orange Cassidy, I think, too, versus Death Triangle, which I figured they would hold it off and have a big 6-man tag team match at Death Triangle, at Blood and Guts. But that is not the case. So this one was academic from the beginning. Private Party and Joe Janela got a little bit of time in. I did like the fact that Pentagon brought this half Venom mask back, which I thought was pretty cool. I would love to see him have half Venom, and then, of course, then you have on the other side, on Phoenix's mask, he has half Carnage. I think that would be awesome. Pac tags in, stealing heel kick, German suplex, Quinn lands on his feet, Phoenix and Pentagon sent out to the floor, Pac and Janela end up on the apron. Quinn goes over the top, hits a senton on Pentagon, Cassidy then leaps off and Pac's back and hits a senton on Phoenix. Janela with a Death Valley driver on the apron on Pac, Janela at the top rope, elbow drop, cover 2. Phoenix with a springboard cutter, Pentagon and Phoenix hit the package power driver, foot stop combo on Janela, Pac hits the Black Arrow, and that is that. Post-match, Death Triangle takes all 3 guys and puts them in a triple submission. It looked like a Gargano escape or something like that. All 3 guys stacked up against each other. They called that, or Tony Schiavone called that, the Death Triangle as a finisher. I don't think you're going to be using that much as a wrestling move unless there's a 6-man tornado tag match or a tornado match. They do that until the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy headed the ring to clear them out, and that was that. Backstage, looking there, which I believe that is Dallas Diamond Page's daughter, talks to Dustin Rhodes and asks him why he's in his ring gear. Earlier, she said that we saw him not ready to wrestle. He was in his, business attire, suit, tie, all that good stuff, being a business guy backstage. And now he's in his gear. Half of his face is painted. He says he's pissed off and is tired of the Inner Circle and tells Hangman that I'm your partner tonight, whether you like it or not. We're going to be fixing this shit with the Inner Circle, and we're going to do some cowboy shit. We see a couple of submissions for the tag team partner for Shawn Spears, one being, of course, Simon Miller from What Culture, and there's a bunch of other ones too. Then they announce the rules for Blood and Guts. It is a War Games. It is rules of a War Games match. 2 men enter the cage for one 5-minute round. Then every 2 minutes, another participant enters. The match officially begins when all 10 men have entered the cage. The winning team is made by the winning team is determined by making an opponent submit or surrender. No pinfalls, no countouts, no escaping the cage. There will be a ceiling. This is not a WWE War Games match, which I don't have a problem with a War Games match in WWE. I actually enjoy the War Games matches, even though they've had their ups and downs with the 4 that they've done so far. But it's going to be different for sure. Ceiling on it, no pinfall, no countout, no escaping. Once the War Games match starts, that door is going to be locked, and you're not getting out until the match is over. Then we had one of the best parts of the show, Jim Ross. One of the big things, one of the two big things that he did in WWE in the Attitude Era was he had two candid interviews that I can remember. Dustin Rhodes and Marlena. They did two of those, I believe, so it's three. Dustin Rhodes and Marlena, when Dustin turned on Marlena and pretty much made her cry. Made her cry and broke up that partnership. And then there's the one with Mick Foley, Mankind, where we got the backstory of Mankind and Mick Foley and what drove him to be who he is, which ultimately led to a mandible claw to Jim Ross. Then he did one in the Ruthless Aggression Era with Kane after Kane lost his mask and got set on fire. J-Ro doing these type of candid interviews are fucking awesome. This week, 2 weeks ago, right before Revolution, he did one with the Young Bucks, Kenny Omega, and Hangman Page, which was unscripted. They went out there and they said what they wanted to say. Tonight, it was Jon Moxley. Ross says Jon Moxley is not medically cleared after last week's attack. Moxley says he's not feeling 100% right now, doesn't go into specifics, and Ross says the 5-on-1 odds are tough for Moxley. Moxley says he means what he says, and he says what he means. Calls out Hager after the powerbomb, and Ross asks Moxley what his plan is for New York. Moxley says he wouldn't miss blood and guts for the world, and says the Inner Circle is focused on the Elite, but I'm in their blind spot, and that should scare them. So, with one of the Young Bucks being possibly written off TV to go help his wife be there while his wife is having the baby, I feel like Moxley might take over that spot with the Elite. Maybe it's going to be Dustin. We'll have to wait and see. The Elite versus them should be interesting to see what happens. Hell, for all I care, have Moxley versus Dustin, the winner goes on to help the Elite. I don't know. But it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Jon Moxley. I will say, though, watching him in this interview, man, that title looks so damn good around his waist. As I said, a year ago, March 11th, 2019, I believe, was a Monday. You gotta love leap year. March 8th, 2019, March 11th, I'm sorry, was 2019, was a Monday. Guess what Dean Ambrose was? Probably on Monday Night Raw, stinking up a storm, or doing shit with the Shield. Doing shit that nobody cared about. Oh, wait a minute. Actually, I don't think he was on TV at that time because they wanted to keep him off TV until he got a contract signed, and he didn't sign that contract. But in March 11, 2019, Dean Ambrose was done. He was dead. We didn't give a fuck about him. He was just ugh. The only thing that was intriguing about Dean Ambrose is what was he going to do was he going to re-sign with WWE? Were they going to give him just enough creative control? Were they going to lie to him just well enough to get this guy to re-sign? Or was he going to go and join AEW or go to Japan because there was talk of people about him wanting to go to Japan, work there? For all we knew, Dean Ambrose could have left WWE in April, did the whole Jon Moxley thing that he did, that video package, and went off to work in Japan for the next 2-3 years, and we don't see him in AEW. But he did both. He came to AEW, he went to Japan, and here he is a year later with that beautiful AEW championship as he's holding it. I don't think he was actually wearing it, but having it where it belongs right now, around his waist, and he looks damn good with it. Speaking of former Le Champion, Jericho and Sammy Guevara took on with Jake Hager, Santana, and Ortiz, took on Hangman Page and Dustin Rhodes. Commentary said Page and Rhodes hadn't talked about it at all before this match, and Page didn't seem thrilled with Dustin being his partner, but guess what? You had no choice. Well, so this was a good match, really good match, and Hangman Page seems to be able to work a tag team match with just about anybody. He's been working great with Kenny Omega as his tag team championship partner. These two worked well together. Dustin Rhodes also can work well in a tag team. He did it with his brother, and I believe Barry Windham as well at one time in his career. But Guevara hooked with a hook kick. Jericho tags in, lands a bunch of shots. Page on the apron, punches Ortiz. Page and Rhodes both go up. Rose with a twisting corkscrew crossbody on the Jericho and Guevara in the ring while Page hits his moonsault on the inner circle. Page looks for the buckshot area, but it's counted into a wall to Jericho. Dustin breaks up that though. Dustin sent outside. Page looking for a buckshot layered on Guevara, but Jericho yanks him down on the floor. Dustin says, you know what? I'm done with this shit. Fuck you. Grabs Sammy Guevara while the referee is distracted. Hits a Canadian Destroyer in the middle of the ring. Guevara is up. Buckshot lariat. 1, 2, 3. Page and Dustin Rhodes are your winners. That is Jericho losing another match, but this time it was because of Sammy Guevara. And again, the only champion in that match is Hangman Page, so his team getting the win made the most sense. Post-match, Inner Circle come in and beat the hell out of them. Most likely gone, but Kenny Omega runs out there with his broken hand, and he attacks them, but that gets attacked. Judas effect on him. Cody then runs out, swinging away on everyone. Hager with a big spine buster on him. He's tossed to the floor. Ortiz takes him and suplexes him on the ramp. Page is brought up to the stage by the group. Page is almost powerbombed off the stage, but Matt Jackson returns and takes down the group. He stares down Page, flips the bird to him. But Jericho, my God, all you hear is whap. You hear that crack. It's that crack of a chair. I can't recreate it because I'm not going to hit myself with a fucking metal chair, and I don't have one. Whacks Matt in the back of the head. It sounded so bad. Cracks Page in the face with his hands up, of course. Jericho then puts the chair over Matt and sits on him while the entire group gather around him. They flip off the camera, and that is that. I love what AEW is doing, building towards Blood and Guts. They're just building this up. Just like this build to Blood and Guts feels like what we had 2 years ago for the build between the Undisputed Era and Team War Raiders. That was a hell of a build. And that build was a hell of a lot longer and started a hell of a lot longer than this one. But that was a hell of a build going into a pretty good War Games match, in my opinion. So, this one being built up like this, and this one going like it does, I cannot wait to see what they do for Blood and Guts in 2 weeks. Hopefully AEW has something going for us in April too, because we have all of April to go through. I wouldn't surprise me after Blood and Guts is done if they still able to do everything that they have ready to go. That Blood and Guts will happen. Blood and Guts will be done. Then we'll move on to whatever they have after that. But this is great. I love that AEW does this. I know Impact Wrestling has been doing this for years. Since they cut their pay-per-views from 12 a year to about 4 major pay-per-views. They've been doing this where they take in their pay-per-view names like Destination X, like Lockdown, like any of these other ones, Genesis or Hardcore Justice, and they make them Impact Wrestling TV special episodes. AEW is doing the same thing. I would love to say WWE could do the same thing if they wanted to, and they've done something like that here and there back when the brand split happened in 2016. But I just don't see WWE able to do that, even though they have the goddamn network. They can do whatever the fuck they want. So, this was a good episode. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Lance Archer, the Murder Hawk, being Jake the Snake Roberts' guy. But that is your AEW on TNT review. Another fun, good episode, and so many things for us to look forward to next week. The Death Triangle takes on the Best Friends and Orange Cassidy next week. I think that's yeah. They have announced that the Exalted One will be revealed next Wednesday. We will finally know who it's going to be. Now, next week is special. Next week is in Brody Lee's hometown. Brody Lee is supposed to be making his debut next week. So, Matt Hardy on his Free the Elite this week was quote-unquote legitimately buried by the Young Bucks in wherever to do all that. So possibly Matt Hardy could be the Exalted One, but also, which wouldn't make any sense to me, but it would be interesting to see what happens, Brody Lee could be the Exalted One. Only took more days to find out. They have hinted at Matt Hardy so hard. They hinted at Christopher Daniels so hard. It could be anybody. We'll just have to wait and see. It's going to be an interesting episode of AEW's next TNT show next week. Hit that subscribe button, comment down below, like or dislike this video. Find me on Twitter at The Fonz Club. Find me on twitch.tv/The Fonz Club. And I will see you guys Friday for SmackDown, where it's rumored that show might be moving to the Performance Center. Until then, my name is Fonz, and I'll see you guys later.